Hello. We are going over the 324 biblical prophecies that prove Jesus is the Messiah. You are watching this on the Halachgoy channel of YouTube. I'm a Halachgoy, and you can be one too. 324 biblical prophecies that prove Jesus is the Messiah. Prophecy number 43. Shall be anointed king to the Lord. We find this prophecy in the book of Samuel, chapter 2, verse 10. Those who oppose the Lord will be shattered. He will thunder against them from heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the Lord of his anointed. We find the fulfillment of this prophecy in the book of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 18. Then Jesus came to him and said, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. It is also fulfilled in the Gospel of John, chapter 12, verse 15. Do not be afraid, O daughter of Zion. See, your king is coming, seated on a donkey's colt. So, in the book of Samuel, Samuel's mother is praising God and is prophesying. In the middle of her prophecy, she says, those who oppose the Lord will be shattered. He will thunder against them from heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed. And the Hope of Israel Baptist Mission is associating this with Jesus came to him and said, all authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. That is, that Jesus had, this was after the resurrection of Jesus, and Jesus is making a statement that the authority in heaven and earth has been given to him. And then in the Gospel of John, this was a week or so prior, do not be afraid, O daughter of Zion. See, your king is coming, seated on a donkey's colt. So Jesus is being proclaimed as the king, both the king in Zion, in Jerusalem, and the king over heaven and earth. That the authority, anyway, has been given to him over heaven and earth. It's been about 2,000 years since this time. Jesus is taking accountability as being the king over heaven and earth for the past 2,000 years, according to the book of Matthew. We could look at the history of the last 2,000 years and attempt in some way to judge what kind of kingship he has accomplished. There's been a lot of positive, a lot of good things that have happened during that time. There's also been a fair amount of negative that has happened during that time. So what kind of a king has Jesus been? And how does that associate with the prophecy given over Samuel? Samuel anointed two of the kings in his course of time, the kings of Saul and also the King David. Israel asked for a king. Samuel took a flask of oil, poured it on Saul's head, and kissed him, saying, has not the Lord anointed you leader over his inheritance? When you leave me today, you will meet two men near Rachel's tomb at Zelzah on the border of Benjamin. They will say to you, the donkey that The donkeys you set out to look for have been found, and now your father has stopped thinking about them and is worried about you. He is asking, what shall I do about my son? I would propose that Jesus is stating himself to be anointed as king under the typology of Saul. Saul was basically a decent person. He was looking after his father's estate. He was searching for donkeys, much the same way that Moses was searching for some sheep a few generations earlier. Much the same way that David was searching for sheep. Saul was searching for a donkey, which would match the prophetic reference in the book of John. He is made king. He does a lot of decent stuff as king. He is able to prophesy, and he does fight against the enemies of Israel. He, however, makes a mistake with regards to the sacrificial system. Because he made the mistake over the sacrificial system, it was decreed that the authority would be taken from him and given to another. It turns out that that other person was David, who was under Saul's nose for a long period of time. Saul had a lot of difficulty with David. David, however, being a good man that he was, never lifted a hand against Saul and never spoke a bad word about Saul. I would propose that Jesus is in the line of Saul as a king over the universe. We can criticize him all we want. We can say things have been really rotten the last 2,000 years. But then again, how do we know things would have been any better had he not been the king? There will come a time when a new king will take charge. That'll be King David, or the Mashiach, the Messiah, will come. Jesus will fade into the background, and the true anointed king of Israel will come forward and usher in the Messianic age. We all look forward to that. But in the meanwhile, I would suggest that we all stop talking badly about Jesus and work with him the best we can. He's doing the best job he can. The next prophecy we'll be looking at, 2 Samuel 7:12. David's seed. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you next time.